Welcome to Teaching Truth. Hearing the Hoofbeats. That's the theme for our reflections this week as we dig beneath the topsoil of Revelation chapter 6 to observe the four different coloured horses which, as it were, are galloping up the racecourse of history. As we take time to listen to their hoofbeats, we want to take time to listen to the beat of God's word from Revelation 6 and to hear what he might well wish to say to us. Today we want to consider the white horse of deception. Let's remind ourselves from Revelation chapter 6 of that white horse. John writes, "I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the seven seals. Then I heard one of the four living creatures say in a voice like thunder, 'Come.' I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest." The white horse of deception. Now, many in first reading this and a cursory reading of this would say that the rider of this white horse is Jesus himself. And they would say that because when you read Revelation chapter 19, verses 11 to 16, you can see in broad brush terms that there are similarities. However, whilst there are similarities, there are more differences than similarities. For the man, the rider on this white horse is not Jesus Christ, rather he is the Antichrist. He is the Antichrist. And the reason it is not Jesus and the reason it is the Antichrist is it is Jesus who is breaking the seals. We read that at the beginning of Revelation 6. So how can Jesus be breaking the seals and riding the white horse at the same time? Moreover, the rider of the white horse wears a crown, singular, whereas Jesus wears many crowns. The rider wears a Stephanos. Now that is described as a victor's crown. His crown is a prize. Whereas Jesus wears many diadems, as we've thought about in previous reflections, the many crowns afforded to the King of Kings. The rider carries a bow. Read Revelation chapter 19 and verse 15. Jesus carries a sword. And so it's clear in reading this that the rider of the white horse is a deceiver, the white horse of deception. Well, now that we know who the man is not, he's not Jesus Christ, but he is the Antichrist, let's dig a little bit deeper and find out about this man, about this Antichrist. Well, may I suggest that he is a man of peace. He has a bow in his hand, a bow, but where are the arrows? Think about that. A bow, but where are the arrows? And this implies that he will conquer the world without any bloodshed. He comes on a white horse. White is traditionally associated with peace, to bring a promise of peace to the world. And when the Antichrist comes, he will come with so-called solutions to the world's problems. He will come with a so-called peace plan to the world. And note this, when he comes, the world, not Christians, the world will fall at his feet and honour him as their ruler. Now, it's pretty obvious when we look around at the state of the world today that our world is in a terrible, terrible place. It's in a state of turmoil, and things are only going to get worse. In fact, it was historian Arnold Toynbee who said this, quote, "We are ripe for someone who can promise to give peace and to give tranquility to the earth. We will deify, note that, deify that individual if he comes." A man of peace, but also a man of power. We're told that he went forth conquering to conquer. We're told that a crown was given to him. See, the leaders of all the nations will bow at this man's feet and grant him the right to rule over the entire world. They will deny that right, that proper right, to the King of Kings. But they will give the right not to Jesus Christ, but to the Antichrist. They will grant that privilege to the Antichrist, a man of power. But he'll also be a man of pretense. You see, the problem with the Antichrist and the problem with the evil one, the problem with Satan, the problem with the devil, even today, is that he is not the man that he appears to be. He portrays himself to be one person, when in fact he is another person altogether. A bit of a Jekyll and Hyde character. He comes riding a white horse. You see, the world will look at the white horse and think, peace. The world is programmed to trust the man on the white horse, the good guy who portrays himself as the man of peace. The man of peace who gallops, as it were, onto the racecourse of history, promising peace, promising safety, and promising prosperity. But in fact, because he is a man of pretense, he will be the most evil, dictatorial ruler the world has ever seen. Now, I don't know who the Antichrist is or will be, but God's word, the Bible, gives some very clear indications when we look at the rider on the white horse of deception. Join me tomorrow in Teaching Truth as we look at the next horse galloping up the racetrack of history, along the racecourse of history, the red horse of destruction.